What was your favorite part of camp?
Larry the cockroach, always.
Zip lining, laser tag on the lake. And the Buccaneers won the week.
Lake. I don't know, the lake. Are you recording me?
When I bragged to y'all about us winning.
Gaga Ball Canteen.
The lake.
The blob.
What was your favorite part of camp?
Zip lining and the swimming and the slide and the trampoline, laser tag today, everything.
The creek. I was trying to catch a crawfish, Dad. I almost caught one. And I really just loved everything. It was awesome here.
My favorite part of camp was the creek, canteen time, and chapel. I like canteen time because we got to just get a lot of candy and drinks. And I like chapel because we got to learn about God and all of that. And I like the creek because we can like just play in water for a long time.
Canteen in the river. At the river, we caught a cod at this big. And canteen, I like carpet ball and just eating candy.
Stop it!
What was your favorite part of camp?
Good answer.
Good answer.
The lakes, canoeing, going to canteen, and having fun to do with all my friends and family.
Beans!
What was your favorite part of camp?
Getting a cupcake in the face and going to the creek canteen and the lake and everything. Probably the creek, ringing the bell, sleeping, and laughing my heart out with Mallory and McKenna.
What was your favorite part of camp?
Everyone ringing the bell and not the bugs. People ringing the bell.
Faith growing in these boys and then the fears being broken as well.
I loved every minute getting to spend it with all these amazing people and hearing people ring the bell.
All right. I don't know if y'all could tell during those interviews, that was a pizza crust on the end of the microphone. All thanks to Aaron. Pizza bones? Okay. All right. Well, I'm so excited. Good morning, church family. For those who may not know who I am, my name is Brooke Light. I'm the Children's Ministry Director here at Bethel. And what an amazing morning we've had so far. Wouldn't you agree, church? So this week, I and 4 adults had the privilege to travel with 18 children to Fincastle, Virginia to Camp Eagle for a kids camp. And what an amazing week it has been. I'm excited to share how God continues to do amazing things. As you all saw in the kids recap video, the children had an amazing time at Camp Eagle, whether it was spending time in the lake, showing off their archery skills, launched into the air off the blob, and then smacking the back of their neck onto the water. Christopher, zipping through the zip line, horseback riding, laser tag, and so much more. These kids did it all, and they had the best time doing it. But most importantly, the joy that they all had spending time in the Word, surrounded by God's presence with their fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. These children were so involved and intently listening to the sermons that Forrest Chapman, the speaker, had shared with us that week. jumping out of their seats with their hands raised as high as they could to answer biblical questions, highlighting verses in the Bible through devotional time and wanting to read God's word, spending time with one another in the word all on their own without us even having to ask, and worshiping the Lord with their hearts poured out. So we have a few kids that would like to come up here and to share with you all what we've learned. My kiddos. I need my kiddos. And this week, for Chapman, we had opened into Colossians, the whole book. So we spent each day learning about that. And so we will share with you guys what we learned a little bit. Okay, so our first question, look at your slips of paper, see if you got it. Our first question, what is the Bible?
God revealing himself and his plan to his people.
Okay, can y'all show them the signs that you learned? So go ahead and repeat it.
God revealing himself and his plan to his people.
Perfect. God revealing himself and his plan to his people. Then we have, how does God exist? Who's my perfect? All right, Levi. All right. Remember to do the signs for me, okay? How does God exist?
God exists in three ways: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And these three are one.
Perfect. All right. God exists in three persons, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and these three are one. Who is Jesus?
The Son who came in the flesh.
The Son who came in the flesh. All right. What is sin?
Anything we do, say, or think that breaks God's law.
Perfect. Y'all are ready to roll. All right, what is the gospel? Okay, all right. Y'all can do the signs, okay. All right, what is the gospel?
Jesus died on the cross for my sins, was buried, and then 3 days later rose from the dead to save me.
Perfect. And then how is someone saved?
By repenting and believing on Jesus.
Awesome. And then last one is, what is the essence of the Christian life?
Being fulfilled in Jesus and living a brand new life.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Y'all can go ahead and have a seat. That's okay. You're good. So the children had learned so much this week, and we as leaders are beyond proud of them. With that being said, I would like to welcome our chaperones and have them share a few highlights that they had this week. So my chaperones, all of y'all can come up this way.
I think that's the first time he acknowledged you as his mother all week. Gosh, Brooke looked at me and said, "You're going first." I said, "Okay." So I absolutely love kids camp. I also got to go to youth camp, and you'll see some of that as well. But one of the things that I love about both of these camps is just these kids' willingness and openness to everything that's going on, whether that's during the games, during free time, during worship. I met a kid at the creek. His name was Ray, and Ray was a rock collector. And I had found the kids were looking for quartz all week because they got like bonus points for their team if they found quartz. And they found stuff that looked like quartz but wasn't really quartz. And they were like, "Oh, this is quartz, right?" And the leader, his name was Zach, said, "No, that's not quartz, buddy." And so Ray knew everything about rocks. This kid knew everything about rocks. And so I found this big chunk of quartz. And I was just like, "Hey, man, look what I found." He goes, "Oh, my gosh, is that quartz?" I was like, "I don't know." He goes, "Lick it. That's the only way you can tell." I did not lick the rock. One of the other kids licked the rock and said, "Yeah, I think that's quartz." And I was like, I don't know how you know what quartz tastes like, but I'm very excited for you to be able to just be full in on that. But just these kids' willingness to open up and share and express everything. one of my favorite things as well, just like, and Ray was so excited to get that quartz. I broke off a couple chunks for him, and he was like, "Are you sure? Like, this is points for my team. We're on different teams. Are you sure I can take this?" I was like, "Just take it home for your collection too. Just promise me that." So Ray was very excited about that. But there was one moment that stuck out, and then I'll tell some exciting news. But was it Tuesday or Wednesday? They went horseback riding. It was Wednesday. They went horseback riding, and a fun fact about me is that I'm severely allergic to horses. Had found that out the hard way, but so I could not go with them horseback riding. But some of the boys in my cabin went horseback riding, and God bless Patrick. I see you, Patrick. He comes back, and I hear from his chaperone that went with him. He was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, he was so worried that he would have some kind of interaction, like, with horsehair that would get you to have an allergic reaction." So he took every precaution he could, and that's just something that's so amazing about these kids, is that no matter what they're going through, whatever they've got going on, they're just always right there, ready to serve, and that's one of the most amazing things about that. And speaking of Patrick, can you actually come up here real quick, buddy? I see you. Don't worry. I don't know if you guys saw this in the video, but they got to ring the bell, and all of us leaders said that we were very excited to hear the kids ring the bell. So, Patrick, can you tell us what ringing that bell means?
It means giving your life to Jesus.
Yes. So Patrick was one of our kids that gave his life to Jesus. He did that on Wednesday night. Forrest gave the invitation, and Patrick raised his hand, and he looked right at me, and I just said, "What, you got any questions, buddy?" He goes, "I want to give my life to Jesus." And I said, "Okay." And then we talked through it, and he knew everything. He knew all the right answers, and in such a way that wasn't just rehearsed. It came straight from his heart, and so he accepted Jesus that night, and then he was good before, but he's been even better ever since. So thank you so much, Patrick.
Hey guys, so this was my first opportunity to be involved with this, and wow, I mean, just seeing these boys go out and do some of these crazy things that I wouldn't even do as a kid, and face certain fears when they would be faced with them right in front, when they would sit and cheer each other on to, "No, you can do it, you can do it," and then they would finally succeed, and you could just see the abundance of happiness that was shared between all of the boys and how they worked together. They were wanting to be first row every night at chapel, which was amazing, and honestly, just it filled us all. And my favorite part was the zip lining, because I was scared of heights myself. And Mr. Colton over there, you, sir, gave me the bravery to do it. We talked through it and we did it together. But overall, it was a great week, and I'm willing to do it again no matter what.
So this is my third year going to camp with the kids. And usually around like Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, at least for me, is kind of when it hits where you're like, oh. And it just so happened this week that Wednesday evening was kind of the time in our chapel service that invitation was given, and you could really see God moving in the hearts of these kids. And so it was kind of like, when that slump hits, God showed up and really gave the energy to kind of carry through the rest of the week. And that evening on Wednesday, I was taking one of the girls to the nurse to get her evening meds. And I mean, it's like after 10 o'clock at night, it's dark out, and I hear this bell ringing, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, people are trying to sleep. We're supposed to be getting ready for lights out. Like, why is somebody ringing a bell and trying to wake up the entire camp? And the nurse was like, that's the best thing you can hear on this camp. And there was another little boy from another church who was in there, and he was kind of wondering the same thing. And she really, I kind of pulled out at that point, but she had a very intentional conversation with this little boy, not from our church, kind of, this is what ringing the bell means. It means you've given your life to Christ, and whenever somebody here on camp rings the bell, we always try to have one of the Camp Eagle staff there, and we'll put it on our walkie-talkies so that everybody, wherever you're at on camp, can hear, and we can all celebrate together. And so Thursday morning, we kind of, as a church group, the kids in our group who had accepted Christ, we went down to the bell together and let the ones who had accepted Jesus ring it. And it was just really neat to see as they walked away, they started singing, "Hell lost another one, so-and-so is free." And it was kind of just like you see that joy in their hearts when they walk away celebrating that person together. And then that evening, Thursday evening, Sarah and I are laying in bed and we're on the bottom bunks. And the girls in the top bunks are sitting there singing, "Thank you, Jesus, for the blood applied." And I won't say we cried ourselves to sleep that night, but it was just really neat kind of seeing the joy that those kids had. And I mean, it was totally them. Like, it was not prompted by us. Like, that was Jesus in their hearts. And that joy kind of coming out in song and celebrating together. And that was, Jesus showed up this week and it was awesome.
You weren't supposed to make me cry. So, as you've heard from everyone, this week was absolutely amazing. For me, it was my first week going to camp with the kids, and God really showed up. There were lots of bugs. We were told there wouldn't be bugs. No, there were lots. There was a lot of sweat. There was a lot of craziness going on, late nights. But God showed up in such a powerful way with these awesome kids. And I think for me, one of the biggest takeaways was from one of the sermons that Mr. Forrest led. He was an amazing speaker, very engaging for the kids. But it was just 2 verses in Colossians. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read them real fast just so you have the context there. It was Colossians 2, verses 8 through 10, and it says, "See to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy, which depends on human tradition and the elemental spiritual forces of this world, rather than on Christ. For in Christ, all the fullness of the deity lives in bodily form, and in Christ you've been brought to fullness. He's the head over every power and authority." And the kids really got that this week. They really understood it, and I feel like they really applied it throughout the week. And it's very easy for us, I think, whether you're 8 or you're 38 or 68, to look at the things of the world and look for fulfillment in them and think, if I just had this, I would be happy, or, if I just looked a certain way, I would be happy, or if, all of those things. But the kids really understood this week that fulfillment can only come from one place, and that's Jesus Christ. And one of the girls in our cabin, she's not able to be here today, but Miss Mallory, she also accepted Jesus into her heart this week. And it was I'm not going to cry. It was such a beautiful thing. Seeing the joy that she instantly had afterwards. And as Miss Lynette shared, just the girls were so hungry to learn more about Jesus and read their Bibles together, sing, unprompted, praising to the Lord, and seeing them in worship, raising their hands the night that they were saved, just thanking God for the redemption that He'd given them. So beautiful week, 10 out of 10 would recommend. It is very clear that God's raising a generation of children to follow Him, and it's a beautiful thing, right? They're choosing truth over trends, and that's exciting for me. So wonderful opportunity. Thank y'all.
Thank you guys for sharing your highlights. I know there were so many. There's hard to pick from. I know for me, it was definitely Will. I think he had said it to Justin, but saying that Jesus is the captain of my soul. Out of the blue, wasn't prompted. It was like one of the last days, and he just looked at Justin and said that and proclaimed that, and we were just like in awe of. He's been such a sweet boy. This is his first year, and he's had a blast. So to see that and that be one of his last statements there just confirmed why we were there. Just confirmed that God truly is working in their lives, even if it's just, again, planting a little seed, even in that moment. They're all feeling it, they're all seeing it, and they're all hearing it. So seeing one of those moments was a blast. Seeing the leaders with these children was a blast. Just the compassion and the time that they took out of their day to really have those one-on-one conversations with these children, that was truly needed, and they brought that to the table, and the children could see that and feel their love. Gosh, there were so many, and seeing the kids worship, that's one of my favorite parts. Seeing all the boys gather together, hugging on one another, swaying back and forth, loving worship, seeing the girls raising their hands in the air, praising Jesus. That is always one of my favorite things in the world. And especially if we can have Sadie Dillon come up for a second. Wednesday night, me and Miss Sadie had a conversation. She wanted to know a little bit about repentance and what that looks like and what it looks like to have a relationship with Christ. And so we had a really great conversation, and then that night I believe she made a decision. And so that next morning she wanted her and I to pray together to make that ultimate decision of accepting Christ into her life. So if you ready, give her a round of applause. You can go down. She is very shy. She did not want that to be announced, but that is okay. It is a praise. We want to announce that for everybody. So all of the kids, Sadie Dillon, Patrick Haynes, and Mallory Mangus, got to all ring that bell. And so I have been praying over all, even not just them, but all the other kids, because again, like I said, they have been planted a seed, and there is something inside them stirring. So even if they didn't get saved today, this week, I've always told them, it doesn't matter. There's tomorrow. Whether it's at school, whether you're hanging out at your house, whether it's at night, day, it does not matter. If you feel God tugging at your heart, ask Him, accept Him. Does not matter. It can happen at any time. Whether it's now, at the age of 10, 40, as long as you can make that decision, there's nothing better. So I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the parents who entrusted us to having your kids with us for the week. They had a wonderful time. So thank you to the parents who are also encouraging their children in their walk with Christ. I want to thank everybody here at the church, everybody who has helped us get to this opportunity. We couldn't have done it without you guys, whether it was volunteering, whether it was donating, just praying over our children. We couldn't have done it without you all. We can't do this ministry without you all. These kids are, like you said, this generation, it counts on us as parents, as adults, as church. They count on us to really instill that faith into them. And so I just encourage you all, whether you have a child that's come to camp, whether you don't have any children, whether you're an aunt, uncle, a stranger, we want to accept everybody here, and we want you guys to truly just pour into these children, because now is the time. This is such a vulnerable age, and with things going on in this world, we all know can be very confusing. We need to be those voices and to really just pour the truth into them. Let's make it not confusing for them. Let's pour into that truth of what God calls us to do. So I just want to thank you all. You guys have been amazing. These children have been amazing. These chaperones have been amazing. And I just couldn't ask for a better church and for a better group of kids. And now I'm going to pass it off to Josh before I start crying. So.
Actually, before Josh comes up here and speaks, I give Brooke a really hard time every single time we're at camp or anywhere else. But honest to goodness, kids camp could not happen without Brooke's leadership. And she leads so humbly and so gracefully. I don't know how she does it sometimes, especially when she has leaders like me always hounding her. So if we could just give Brooke a round of applause for all of the effort and the time she put in this week. Really make her cry. If you guys could stand up and clap, that would be amazing.
Aaron, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say, what an awesome opportunity for these kids. Thanks so much for sharing. It's really, really cool to hear about what God did at camp with you guys. And I think it's been a long time since we even had a kids camp until Brooke came along and really kind of organized us to have kids camp. 3 years now? Has it been three? Third year. So that's really awesome. So let's hear it one more time for these kids. It was awesome. We're going to transition now to, we've gone to elementary, we're going to move up to middle school and high school with the youth. I'm going to tell you what transpired with us at camp, I guess 2 weeks ago now, a week and a half ago now. I first want to thank our leaders for going as well. We had a tremendous leader staff go with us, which we needed because we had 40 teenagers running around Daytona Beach. First, Jameson, Kara, you guys stand up. Blake, Sammy, Garrison, Kelly, Megan, Aaron, you guys stand up. Give them a round of applause. We really, utilized every single one of these leaders. I think Aaron's on his 5th wardrobe change now. I don't know if you've noticed. He's been changing wardrobes the whole morning, but we really utilized all these leaders at camp and needed them all. We're excited that they were with us, and they just do a great job investing in these kids, not just at camp, but a lot of them throughout every year. Every week. Also, I want to thank you, church, for the prayers that you prayed for us while we were gone. I thank you for the support that you provided us to even get to camp. The charter bus was magnificent. 12 hours, we didn't have to drive it. We got chartered down there, and that's because of funds that we were able to raise, that you guys were able to give to. So just really appreciate that. The snacks that you provided us to take on the trip, just all the support you guys provide for us to just take these kids on a trip like we took. We've never taken a trip this far before. I think the farthest we've gone was maybe New Jersey. So this was by far the farthest trip we've taken. We took 48 people to Daytona Beach, Florida. Daytona Beach was not what I thought it was going to be. It was a little more sparse than I thought it was going to be. But it was a great experience going down to Florida and having camp with these teenagers there. Out of the 48 people that went with us, as you saw this morning, 5 decisions for Christ, which was awesome. And there were other decisions made at camp as well. Give you a little overview of what our camp looked like in the beach. Every morning we would kind of get up, maybe eat some breakfast, and then we'd go to the worship center for squad wars. If you don't know what squad wars are, it's basically this, physical battle between different squads. There were 4 squads. We were on Squad Phoenix, the white squad, and our squad did not win. We had the lead at one point, but we didn't win for the week. Another squad won, but we did this squad war thing for about 45 minutes every morning. It really just gets the kids awake, the teenagers awake in the morning. Right after that, we would have worship service. Then we would go to lunch. Then we'd have small group time where every leader had a small group and spent 20 to 30 minutes talking with their small groups, interacting with the small groups. Typically in the small groups, we had about 3 to 5 people in their small groups. Then we would go out to the beach or the pool and maybe get burnt and maybe hang out and play some games as far as volleyball or you'll see some of the pictures here in a second, volleyball or soccer or football or spike ball or, chicken fighting in the ocean, whatever it may be. I will say the last day we were there, the current was so bad that it was rough. Beat the heck out of me. But they wouldn't let anybody go in above their was it the waist? They couldn't go in above their waist. Actually, we had somebody go a little far, and the police were called, or whatever they call anything. Rescue people were called. But don't worry, everything turned out fine. And then, so we'd spend a little time on the beach, in the pool, hang out a little bit. Then we go back after that to dinner around 5 o'clock every day, hit worship up after that. And then we have church group time after that, where us as a church met and talked and kind of recap the day, recap the speakers, things like that. So as you could tell, there wasn't much time for, it was pretty one thing after another. There wasn't much time for rest or anything like that. Also, with that, we, for the week, we really went through the book of Philippians. We went through the book of Philippians. It may sound familiar because I think that's what we're going through here now. So we went through the book of Philippians at camp during the week. We were led by Passion Music during worship time. We had over 6,400 people at this camp. All right, so this was not a small camp. This was not 300 people, 400 people. This was over 6,400 people. And if you can it's hard to describe to you when you're in worship and you have over 6,400 people raising their hands and shouting to Jesus what that is like. It's just like, it's indescribable. And by the way, probably over 6,000 of them are middle schoolers and high schoolers. And so it's quite the scene and quite the worship that we got to experience. Also, we got to hear from Crowder one night. We got to hear from KB one night. That was rocking and jamming, and that was a lot of fun. Great speakers like Ben Stewart and Louis Giglio and Brad Jones and Grant Patrick and Heath Haymaker and Hatmaker and Jonathan Pickens. We got to hear from all these guys as well. So just really, really engaging speakers as well that we got to hear. So now that I've given you an overview, as quick as I possibly can, we're going to give you a little video. And now you get to see a little bit of camp. And at the end, be ready for the superlatives. Let's play that video.
tell us about your bird experience.
Okay, so the birds down here, I don't know if you know this, they are trained assassins. These things, I don't know how high up they were. They were over the building, right? So however tall the building is, and they're flying in formation around the building, circling, finding their targets, which just so happened to be me apparently. I don't know why, but they hit me, and they only missed one, the rest got me. On the arm, on my pant leg, I was like, oh man, water's falling from the sky again, and then I look, and I'm green down my arm. So, don't mess with the seagulls in Daytona.
Hey, do the Garrison. Do the Garrison.
Boys' room. That was a girls' room, just so you know. Also, Haley and Faith, we were not getting ice cream one night. Well, they found poor Blake Miller here, and they started batting his eyes at him and started bagging him. And sure enough, he took them to get ice cream. They came back with ice cream. So we're giving Blake a hard time about maybe he'll have girls one day, and that'll be in trouble. So, yeah, so you saw a little bit of the video there, a little bit about what transpired at camp. That's, of course, not the whole thing, but just a glimpse of what occurred. I'm going to have some people come up and share with you real quick right now. So we're going to start off with Alina, who was baptized today. Where's Lena at? Where's she at? There she is. Come on, Alina. I'm going to have Lena come up, share with you a little bit. I think I went out of order. I'm sorry. Okay. I was supposed to do her second. So she's looking at me right now like, I wasn't supposed to go first. All right, Lena, go ahead. Wait a minute. You need this.
So I grew up in a Christian household, and I always knew about Jesus, and I kind of always believed in him. But when I started middle school, I kind of started to drift away from God. And then when I started 7th grade, I experienced bullying for the first time. I was bullied by these girls a grade above me for about a month, which was weird because I had never experienced this. So I started to question God, why would this happen to me? And before going to Passion Camp, I almost completely lost my faith. So I started going to camp this year thinking it would be different, since I didn't feel close to God. But the first service, I just felt full of joy from the Lord, and this year's group was a big part of the reason it was such a great trip. But Tuesday, I just felt God tugging me to get saved, and in small groups, I talked about how I didn't want to fully commit to Jesus, but that night, I just got on my knees and prayed, and I just felt like that week was the week that I needed to give my life to Christ. So Wednesday night, the speaker said if anyone wanted to give their life to Christ to stand up. And I was sitting next to, where's Maudie and Braden? Maudie and Braden, and I said, I want to stand up, but I don't know. And Braden was thinking the same thing, and so he stood up, and we stood up together, and we gave our lives to Christ together, and I don't think that if Braden wouldn't have stood up, I would not have stood up either. So I want to thank all the leaders for this trip and everybody who came on this trip.
Thank you for sharing, Lena. Thank you. All right, Braden, you're next. Come on, man.
So when Coach had first told me about camp, I was really not planning on going. I didn't really know a lot of people at the church. I just knew Coach and his family, really. So I don't know. I didn't feel like I was going to jump into this group of 40 people and be accepted, but I couldn't be more wrong. I'm so glad I came. But my story really starts on Tuesday night. Some of our leaders, Kara and Garrison, had sent out these challenges to sit with new people and just to be vulnerable and let God talk to you. So that Tuesday night, I just thought about those words, and then Wednesday morning, we had gone to our service, and I was walking in with the group I had sat with all week, and someone else had came to me, and they're like, Braden, would you come sit with me? And I was just thinking about what Kara said. So I went and sat with just someone completely different, and I felt God talking to me. And during those songs, I just stood up and I raised my hand and I let myself be vulnerable, just like Garrison had told us the night before. And that's when I really knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how I was going to do it. So all day I'd pondered these thoughts of how I was going to give my life to Jesus. And that Wednesday night, we had gone in there, and the speaker was just telling these stories about how God worships people so much more than all these other beings, and how he cares so much more about us. And so that Wednesday, I'm sitting there, he's inviting people up to give their life to Christ, and I was lost. I knew I had wanted to, but I didn't have the strength to. So I put my head down, and that's when I heard Lena. She had said to me, or she said to Maudie, which was in between us, she goes, I want to stand up, but I'm scared. And that's exactly how I felt. So in that moment, I just grabbed Lena on the shoulder, and I decided to stand up, and Lena stood up with me. And it's like a heat wave. I'm standing up in front of 6,400 people, and I don't feel nervousness at all. I feel this weight lifted off my shoulders, and it could have only been God. And after that, eyes were closed, all these people are praying. I open my eyes and I turn around, and there's a line of people up the stairs that had just came to congratulate me and said they've been praying for me for so long. And it just helped me realize how God works and how these people have been praying for me for so long, and I finally decided to give my life to Christ.
Appreciate it, buddy. This is how God works, and he's always working, as we say. He really is. Brady wasn't supposed to go to camp with us. We had somebody drop off that decided not to go, and we needed a guy to take a spot. And Braden was that guy that took that spot. So so thankful that he did, and so thankful not just life has changed forever, his eternity has changed forever because of that. So it's really, really, really awesome how God works. When he wasn't originally even supposed to go, and somebody dropped off, and then bam, here comes Braden, and now his eternity's changed forever. So that's really cool how God works, isn't it, church? I'm going to have one more student come up. Now, the first two kind of wrote out what they were going to say. This one did not. So, Blake, come on up, buddy.
So I really have no idea what I'm going to say. It's just going to be coming straight off my head. So if I pause. It's like, I'm just thinking. There's a lot of people. That's scary. I'll turn around.
Whatever you want to do, man.
Hey, so I've been coming to this church for I don't know how long, ever since I can remember. And this is the first time I can't. It's too weird. I can't do it. This is the first time I've ever been able to come to the church camp, because before that, me and my family always go to the beach at the same time. And we didn't do that this year, and it's just the first time we were able to go. I see Caleb laughing. Yeah,
You got
I don't know. Well, it was Wednesday night, and I don't really know what it was. It was just like this feeling, and it was just, I can't talk at all. I just can't.
You're doing good. It was Wednesday night. You're right.
Shoot, this is harder than I thought.
You watched.
Yeah, you probably remember more than I do.
Well, yeah. So it was Wednesday night, and Braden and Lena had already stood up, and we're on like the back of the risers. Okay.
I remember something. So I was sitting down, and I was like contemplating standing up or not, and then Logan's sword came up and touched my leg. And it was just like, I don't know why he touched my leg, but he just started praying with me, and he made me stand up. So I just want to thank him. I know he's not here right now, but yeah.
So it was really cool. We were behind them, and you could see the Holy Spirit already starting to work with Blake, because they had stood up. And we're looking over to our left, and Blake is just wiping his eyes, just wiping. And I'm like, God, just let him surrender, just praying, over this kid that's in the row above us. And I, wait a few seconds, and then Logan's got his arm around him, and they're like in a bear hug, kind of looking like they're crying and praying together, and waited a little bit longer, and I went over to the left because they were over to the left from where I was, and I just put my hand on Blake. I said, Blake, did you make a decision? And he shook his head yes. And I usually am not this like pushy, or at least I don't think I am. Maybe I am, and people don't tell me.
No comment.
But I said, you need to stand up, because I knew for him how powerful that and freeing that would be for him to stand up. And he didn't wait like 2 seconds, he stood up, and you could just see the relief in 18 years of weight just fall in freedom for him. So probably one of the coolest things to see transpired just with a buddy. And I don't know if we want to share maybe about his college group. Some of the guys that are seniors with him that just graduated, they've been going to a college group with Aaron for the past couple months, and they shared that evening in our church group time, for about 4 months, they've specifically been praying for Blake and his salvation. Just so for them to be there, and them just to be accountable enough and love him enough to just lift him up in prayer just shows like that's what the church is supposed to be, right? We're supposed to be accountable. We're supposed to pray for our family and our friends and even strangers. So it was just awesome to see just a testament of just him being raised here and you guys pouring into him, and his family being so fantastic, and just and we kind of laughed with him after. Like there's a difference with Blake. Like a lot of times, like he's super quiet, which I'm sure you noticed him getting up on stage with Mike is completely out of his comfort zone.
It's too many people.
It's a lot of people, but it's amazing what God can do through you now that you have Jesus with you. So we're just super, super proud of Blake. We even told him, like I told him the night after, that his smile just looks different than what it did 2 weeks ago. Like there's just a difference about him, and that's how we're supposed to look, right? We're not supposed to look like the rest of the world. So I'm super thankful that now it's not just Blake, it's I see Jesus in him now. So just really awesome.
That's really cool. We had a conversation with Blake when he was a sixth grader about being baptized, and it just wasn't the right time. But man, God never gives up. And now he's even graduated, and God grabs a hold of his life, grabs a hold of his heart, and he's a changed man.
Yes.
I hear he's even listening to Crowder at home now.
I know, jamming to Crowder and coming to college group now. So we're really excited to see what God is going to do specifically through Blake as well. So yes, give Blake a hand.
Good job, Blake. The fact that Blake even walked up here to talk to you guys shows you a whole lot if you guys know him. I'm going to have one of our leaders come up and share very quickly. He told me it was going to take less than 4 minutes, so we'll put him on the clock. Mr. Blake Miller, the other Blake, come on up.
There really is nothing else like camp. I never went to camp as a kid. The last 2 years I've had such a great time just being able to go and be with these kids. There's no other place in the world where you can just feel the presence of God and see Him moving in the lives of thousands of people at once. On the third night of camp, we had finished an amazing night of worship. We had a sermon from Louis Giglio. Blake got saved. A couple other kids got saved. And I just had I had a feeling just to share a little bit of my story, my upbringing, and a little bit of my testimony. We spent about 2 to 3 hours just talking about how easy it is to fall into the traps of this world, believing that the lie that temporary pleasures can fill the emptiness inside of us. The truth is that chasing what the world offers, it can only lead to eternal consequences. I wanted them to know that they're not alone in their walk with Christ, and that no matter how far they may feel from God, He's always near, and we'll always be there to hold each other accountable. There's a verse that I shared with them, and I hope everyone that hears it, they can take something from it. Matthew 16, verse 26, Jesus says, "It is worth nothing for a man to have the whole world if he loses his soul. He can never pay enough to buy back his soul." It's a verse to remind us that the world offers many things that seem fulfilling, but in the end, they leave us empty. I'm just going to list a few things that the world kind of convinces society that'll make us happy. Whether it's a lot of money, nice cars, designer clothes, being a TikTok influencer, star athlete or a top student, having a successful career. And then there's things that are often hidden in the dark. Drugs, alcohol, sex, lust, pornography. These are all things that people turn to on a daily basis, hoping that it'll fulfill a void inside of them. The truth is, none of it will ever be enough. The better you do, or the more of these worldly treasures you gain, the more broken or lost you may feel. That's because what the world offers is only temporary. Only Jesus can bring that true fulfillment. Only Jesus can fill that void. He came not to shame us, but to rescue us. He makes us new, and He washes us clean. There's no sin or no past mistake that He can't save us from. Whatever we're carrying or whatever we're facing, Jesus had already defeated sin for us. Jesus is enough.
Yeah, as Blake mentioned, it was really cool. One night, him and Garrison, Jameson, they took all of our kind of older guys, and they were in Blake's room and had this long conversation with them just about what guys their age struggle with these days and the temptations that they face these days. I don't even know what time they finished because I went to bed. I know it was after midnight, and I was asleep, I think, when my guys came back in my room. But it's really cool to have these young leaders with us that can really relate to our older guys at that stage in their life. We heard a bunch of sermons throughout the week at camp. We heard sermons about hope. We heard sermons about being humble. We heard sermons about buying in and selling out. We heard sermons about dealing with worry, which was a big one for our group, especially for the young ladies. We heard sermons about standing firm and focused. We heard sermons about looking up and zooming out. But one sermon that I want to briefly focus on this morning with you guys that we heard that was delivered was Tuesday night at camp. We heard a sermon about us being loved by God, how we are loved by Him. Ben Stewart gave that sermon, And he talked a lot about how love sacrifices. Love, it gives, it sacrifices, it gives. Love stays. When things get tough and things get hard, love stays. He talked a lot about how, the fact that love stays, it doesn't leave. It just stays. He talked about how love sins. When we realize we are loved, we want to share that love with others. He talked about that. Jesus sacrificed himself. Jesus paid the ultimate sacrifice for us because he loved us. Jesus stayed. Like, when he didn't have to, for you and for me, he chose to stay and go through this ultimate sacrifice. And Jesus will constantly stay knocking on that door, wanting you to give your life to him, whether you're in 6th grade or you just graduated high school, or whether you're 80, 90 years old. He just constantly stays. And Jesus sends. He sends us out into the world to be the hope for other people. When these people up here get baptized, when you give your life to Christ and you follow that up with baptism, we're called to be used by him to go reach other people for his kingdom. And you've seen that this morning, how God has used other people to impact lives for his kingdom. So Jesus did those things. And if that's not awesome enough, here's even more. When we realize we're loved by the Almighty God of the world, it gives us this fearlessness to live life for him, and gives us this freedom to love others like we couldn't before, without fear of being hurt or not liked or not accepted, because we are accepted by the King of all kings. So when we invite Jesus into our life, like we've seen happen this morning, and we've heard happen this morning with several of these individuals over here, we can live with this fearlessness and this freedom that we couldn't have lived with before. And that enables us to go live our lives fearlessly and with this freedom to go impact the world for Jesus. And that's what we're called to do, right? First, come to know him. And then second, once we know him, how can we be used for him throughout the world? So here's what I'm going to do for the invitation this morning. I'm going to make it a little interactive. It's going to be a little challenging for all of you. It's been a little interactive service, so we're going to end kind of this way. All right, Kelly, if I can get you and I don't know, somebody to help kind of put this thing up here. We're going to bring this this easel up here, and there's going to be this canvas that we're going to place on it. All right, and here is the challenge. I'm going to have the worship team come on back up and get started, get set as we get this set up. All right, so here's the challenge. Here's what I'm going to ask of you this morning. Those of you that know you are loved by Jesus, I'm going to ask you to come up front and write down something that has maybe held you back in the past or is currently now holding you back. All right, I'm going to ask you to come up here and write on this canvas. There's going to be pencils up here, all right, to write whatever that thing may be that is currently holding you back or maybe held you back in the past. Maybe for you, it's worry. Maybe you worry a whole lot, so you would just write worry on that canvas there in pencil. Or maybe for you, it's, I don't know, selfishness. Maybe you just are just battle with selfishness. Or maybe it's insecurity. Maybe you're just very insecure. Or maybe you battle with addiction or shame or guilt, or maybe it's fear, or maybe comparison for you, or maybe it's hatred, or maybe it's lust or jealousy or perfection or control or rejection or unforgiveness or something else that maybe has held you back in the past or currently right now is holding you back to fully living for Jesus. And what we're going to do is we're going to write that down in pencil. And then you're going to take this red marker that's laying beside it. You're going to take this red marker and you're going to cross over it a few times. And what you're going to do is you're going to symbolize whatever it is you wrote, fear, comparison, addiction, anxiety, whatever it is, you're going to cross over it with that red marker. That's going to remind you that you don't have to carry that anymore. You don't have to, that's not yours to carry anymore. Because Jesus' grace and his love is enough. And his blood, that red marker, his blood will symbolize that he's got it. And it's sufficient to cover up anything that holds you back for living for him. So that's going to be the invitation this morning, church. You've had some kids come up here and be bold enough to talk to you guys and share what God did in their lives at camp. You've had some teenagers come up here and be bold enough. Maybe they faced the other way, but they were bold enough to get up here and share with you what God did in their life at camp. So I'm going to challenge all of you, kids, teenagers, adults. It's your turn. All we're asking now is you to come up and you to write on this canvas with one of these pencils. And then you take that red marker and you symbolize that, man, Jesus' blood is enough. And I'm going to mark over that thing. Because when you give your life to Jesus, he doesn't see your sinfulness anymore. He doesn't see your sinful acts and things that you've done in the past. We had a teenager tell us, I didn't feel like I could be saved because I needed to get right first. I needed to be good enough first. I needed to make better choices first. It's not how God works. He wants you to come to him first, and then he'll help you deal with those things in your life. And then you don't have to deal with them on your own anymore, but you can allow him to cover up those things and deal with those things for you. Because when Jesus sees you and you're a son or a daughter of him, he sees the blood of his son, Jesus Christ. He doesn't see your guilt or your shame or your anxiety or your depression or your addiction. So this morning, come on up, write that on this canvas and go ahead and cover it up with that red marker to symbolize and illustrate that Jesus' blood is all we need. It's enough. Come on, church.